Hi there everybody, it's Chef Martin once again from the ThermoWorks demo kitchen, and today we're bringing the heat with Lynnae, Oxley-Loupe. It's good to have you back.
Thanks, Chef. It's really good to be back in the kitchen here, cooking up some really amazing food.
I'm looking forward to it. What we had last time was so tasty. If you haven't seen other videos with Lynnae and us, be sure to go back and check some of those out. Great content there. I think you'll really enjoy it. But we're glad to have you here with us today while we make a stuffed pork loin. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely. So we've got a real simple stuffed boneless pork loin. These are very inexpensive, really accessible all over, any time of year. We're going to stuff it with a beautiful cornbread dressing that's got some great vegetables, lots of flavor, and it's going to be wonderful. And it really pleases just about everybody that eats it. I'm going to put you, maybe you can do some of the vegetables and I'll do some of the vegetables.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah,
so what we're going to do is just going to small dice on the bell pepper and then on the onion, and then I'll take care of the other stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to peel an apple here. And we just have a Granny Smith apple. Super simple. If you have a Fuji apple or a Braeburn apple, whatever you want to use is fine.
Any apple will be good with this pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're doing this, Chef, I'm just going to start heating up this pan because we're going to get these sauteed here.
All right.
So we're going to just go ahead and put these vegetables in the skillet. I've got the skillet on a medium-high heat, so we don't want the butter to burn.
Yeah, so you got some butter in there. Is butter the only way to go on this, or are some other things okay?
Nope. If you've got absolutely olive oil, any kind of oil, you can use some bacon grease. I mean, think about that.
I mean, why not, right?
Double up the pork value.
Yeah.
Just any kind of fat is fine.
Okay. How fine do you want these onions? Just like really fine, or just medium?
No, just a medium dice is fine.
Okay.
These vegetables are going to break down in the pan, and so they're going to soften. So even if they're large, that's fine. This is nice. I usually don't get help in the kitchen. This is pretty cool. Are you going to be able to do the dishes after, or are you going to?
Yeah, I mean,
stick them with me.
Maybe we'll get maybe we'll get some of the other crew to get in here, but I'm certainly not going to stick you with it. That's for sure.
Well, they're going to line up to eat this food, so they've got to.
Hey, there's a cost of admission there.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm going to pay the piper here. All right. So all I'm doing, just quick dice on the apples, medium-high heat on the skillet. And I just want to soften these vegetables up, nothing too crazy.
So we're not going for any browning or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, if it browns, that's fine. This is a really resilient, easy-to-do recipe. If you brown it, what you don't want to do is burn.
Okay.
So you want to monitor that heat. The pan looks like it's getting away from you. Turn the heat down a little bit. Okay.
So that's like 2 or 3 tablespoons of parsley there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want me to strip this off for you?
Yes, please. Okay.
Thyme and pork, just as good as apples and pork, pretty much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to do maybe some, something tropical like mango? I mean, why not? Push the limit.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutes in food. I mean, sometimes, if you're baking, it's one thing, but if you're just playing around and doing a nice stuffing like this, I mean, go nuts, You want to make it a little hot, add some chili flake.
Ooh.
So that's going to saute up here. It's starting to smell pretty good, huh?
It is. It's already smelling great. And my nose is all full of thyme from this too, so I'm really enjoying this.
So now what I don't want to do, Chef, is I don't want to put the herbs in too far ahead of time.
Okay.
Because if I do that, all that flavor is just going to bleed out and it's going to get lost. So I'm going to hit these herbs in this saute kind of right at the last minute.
Okay.
So that they can bloom.
Yeah.
And when we mix them with the cornbread, you'll be able to taste the herbs and the finished product.
So you're looking for more of a flavor of the fresh herbs than
Yes.
anything else. Gotcha.
We're also going to season this with my Cluckin' Awesome seasoning rub. Essentially, this is just a wonderful, very herbal-heavy rub. It's got a tiny drop of sugar, salt, pepper. It's got some lemon pepper in it and some citrus notes that really, really work with the herbs, with the vegetables, with the pork, and the cornbread. It's going to be a really, really great flavor combination. All right, Chef, so here's what we're looking at. So this is, see how this is nice and soft, soften them up a little bit?
A little bit of browning on the edges on some of that, just a little bit.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to Pour in our little chicken broth here. We're going to turn down the heat because I don't want this chicken broth to evaporate all at one time.
And that'll help to steam everything and soften it even better, huh?
Yep.
Marry those flavors together.
Yep. So we're going to let this sit for another 2 minutes or so, and we're going to be in good shape.
So we have here, this is a little bit more than 3 pounds, boneless pork loin. Would you want me, this is your recipe, do you want me to trim that up any, or is that good? We have just a little bit of fat cap there, but we like that there, right?
Yes, absolutely. You know, this boneless pork loin is pretty lean. The meat inside is very lean. There's a little bit of a fat cap. Leave that there. I mean, this is like perfect. It's going to baste the outside, add flavor to the pork itself, and it's great. Now, if you really not want to, if you want to remove the fat, go ahead. But left to my own devices, I leave the fat there.
So while that finishes sauteing, I'm going to butterfly this pork loin. I'm going to basically unroll it. We call this jelly roll style, book style. There's lots of different ways. But basically, I'm going to just go parallel to the board and make a cut to about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch away from the end. I'm going to flop it over, and I'm going to continue on like that. And if everything goes according to plan, I won't go through it anywhere. It'll stay one solid piece.
Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing this step, a lot of times you can have the meat department at your local grocery store do this. Just ask for the pork loin butterflied.
Yeah. By all means, better to do that than to slice yourself open. No need for butterflying you, just because you're butterflying a pork loin.
And really important, always make sure your knife is sharp. I cannot stress that enough, and a sharp knife is a safe knife, believe it or not. All right, these vegetables are good and softened, and I'm just going to go ahead, turn the heat down low, put the herbs in there.
You should be able to get 3 folds out of your pork loin. I have a lot of practice, so I got 4.
That looks really good.
3 is just fine, though. And you really want a nice level playing field here, right? I mean, it's not a 100% level, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter that much. You just are shooting for that, right?
Absolutely. And if you wanted to, you could just take a couple of sheets of plastic and fold them out on themselves. And then you can just kind of pound this out with a mallet just to make it even. But this is perfect. This will work exactly the way we want it to work.
Okay, so we've got this butterflied. That's all ready to go. So do we need the cornbread now?
Yep, we're ready for the cornbread.
Great.
And again, this can be made a day ahead of time, no problem. So we're going to incorporate all these beautiful sauteed vegetables into the cornmeal, or the cornbread rather.
Oh, smell on that. So this cornbread, does it matter what kind of cornbread? Do you need a specific recipe?
No, you can use your homemade. You can use a box recipe. I mean, whatever's comfortable for you. So now what we want to do is we want to mix this thoroughly with the cornbread. Now we want this to be sort of not a big soupy mess, but if you find that it's a little dry, you may add a little bit more of the chicken broth just to moisten it up. But the whole idea is to, and you can get your hands in here, if you can go ahead and mush this into a
patty kind of?
A patty, and it's it's not falling apart, I think we're good. So this is perfect.
Okay, so the cornbread stuffing is made. Can I go ahead and stuff that, or do we need to do anything else to it first?
You know what? Let's go ahead and season this. I've got my Oink and Holler pork seasoning. It's beautiful. It's got some warm spices in it, salt, pepper, paprika, beautiful color, and it's going to add just a layer of flavor to the dish. This is perfect. So I'll let you do the honors.
Great.
You don't have to go crazy. Just a nice light coating of the seasoning, easy. We've got a lot of flavor in this this cornbread stuffing, so this is just a little extra.
I can smell the warm spices in here, like there's a little bit of cinnamon there or something like that.
Yep.
And that'll go great, again, with the apples and everything else.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to not go crazy, and this is going to be quite a bit. This is enough for essentially like a 5-6 pound pork loin. So you can actually use this. And honestly, you can take this, put it in a Ziploc, and you can freeze it and use it again at another time, not a problem. You want to take it out a little ahead of time. And that's perfect. So
We're just going, this isn't stacked really
Yeah.
deep. This is just kind of like, you know, kind of covering the surface a little bit.
Absolutely.
How's that look? Is
This
that
looks,
about what
that
we're
looks
looking
perfect,
for?
Chef. This looks really, really nice.
All right. I'm gonna.
All those fresh herbs and all those vegetables and.
Now this comes.
All right, this is where the magic happens,
yeah,
guys.
This is the dangerous part here. Okay, you just got to have faith in yourself.
Exactly, and something's going to spill out. That's okay.
Yep. All right, there we go.
Look at that. Pretty as a picture. That looks gorgeous.
Ready to bed that down. Now tying it is going to do a couple things for you. For one thing, it's going to keep it in a nice uniform shape, but especially when it comes to a stuffed pork loin, you're tying it really to keep everything together. If you don't stuff it, it's going to unroll. Stuff is going to fall out a lot more. Stuff is still going to fall out, but not nearly as bad as it would otherwise. So it is important to do this step.
All right. Perfect. So we're just going to season this pork up.
And that's the same one with the warm spices in it?
Yep, we've got
Great.
the Oink and Holler. Perfect for pork. And then I'm going to just, now that it's all tied up, it all holds together. And just going to,
it's beautiful. Yes.
smells really good. This is going to smell amazing
Yeah.
when it's cooking. All right. So now we put this on the pan. This looks really great. We're going to put it in a 350-degree oven. We're shooting for about a 145-degree internal temperature. Everything will be cooked. It won't be dried out. And it'll be beautiful. And then we can apply the glaze.
Let's go ahead and stick a probe in it before we put it in the oven.
Now you're going right in the middle, Chef?
Yep, right in the middle. Trying to follow the path of the meat down in there. Whether I'm in the meat or in the stuffing, they should all end up with about the same temperature, so we should be okay. I've got the alarm set for 145, so let's go ahead and stick this in the oven, yeah?
Perfect.
So while our pork loin is in the oven, you have a glaze that you wanted to make, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We've got this here. Explain what's going to happen and what we've got going on.
Yeah, super simple glaze. We don't want to really overdo it. We got lots of flavoring going into that pork. This is a nice simple glaze, just makes the outside shine, works with the pork, works with the filling, and it makes a really nice plate presentation, which is really great. So, really easy, guys. We have some apple juice concentrate. We're going to use about that much right there.
It's like about half to 2/3.
Mm-hmm. We've got some apple jelly, and I'm going to use about half of this jar.
So we're really doubling down on the apple flavor here, huh?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
It's apple on top of apple, which is really great.
That's great.
And then, and this will also give it that nice gelled look. And then for a little savory note, we're going to hit it with some spicy brown mustard, deli-style mustard, which is wonderful. I love this stuff. I'll take this over the yellow mustard any day of the week.
Oh, me too.
We've got, it's wonderful to on pork. I mean, you can't go wrong. Got a couple tablespoons going in on that one. And then we're just going to go ahead and give it a whisk. And then bring this over medium heat and just bring it to temperature. And then this will be our glaze. And then that's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's the glaze.
All right, Lynnae, our pork loin is up to 135, 136. Now's when we apply the glaze, is that right?
Yeah, so I think what we need to do is just crank the heat up, throw it to 400.
Okay.
And we're going to start to glaze. And we'll glaze every probably 20 minutes until it gets to temperature, and we'll be good to go.
Okay. I'll open that
Oh,
up for
my goodness, that looks good.
you. Oh, it looks beautiful. So, yeah, the viscosity on that is really nice.
Yeah, it's not
Coats
like
it really well.
Yeah, it's not a thick, super thick glaze.
Uh-huh.
It's just enough to give it a nice shine, a little hint of sweetness on the outside, and it's perfect. So we're going to do that about 2 more times.
Okay.
So there we go.
Cool. So the alarm just went off at 145. Let's check the internal with the ThermoPen and get it out of the oven, shall we?
It smells so good.
It smells amazing.
Incredible.
So we pulled it out. We can just verify the temperature here with the ThermoPen. I'm just going to stick that in there. We're looking for the lowest temp we see. So yeah, that's going back up. So we're at about 146 there in the very center.
And
so
that's perfect.
That's great. We'll let it rest.
Yeah,
Shall we?
absolutely. I can't wait any longer. Let's get this puppy opened up.
Do make sure to cut your strings off. Nobody wants a mouthful of cotton twine.
Careful if contents might have shifted during flight.
Yeah, uh-huh. but holding together remarkably well, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's the great thing about this. Lynnae, that is beautiful. The steam coming out of there smells amazing. Look at this. We've got a perfect snail shell shape here.
Couldn't do it any better than that. And it's nice and juicy. So we took that pork to 145 degrees internal.
The USDA changed their guidelines for pork some years ago to 145 as a safe temp. And ever since then, people have been eating pork a lot better. Just look at that. It's tender. It's juicy. Lynnae, this is amazing. Oh, the smell. And there's a nice little crust on there from the glaze and from the seasoning.
And of course,
more of our reserved glaze.
absolutely.
Increase the apple factor on this a little bit. A lot. It's almost like apple syrup. And that is going to be amazing. I can't wait to sink my teeth into that and try it out.
There you go.
Go ahead and cut
We'll do
myself
a
a slice right
sample.
now. Yeah, we'll do a board sample. And I'm going to taste this.
Go for it. You do the honors.
I love the apple. I love how the green bell pepper is pulling a lot of weight there. And the sweetness and everything. And for a holiday dinner, like, pork loin is cheap.
Yeah.
And like you can feed a pretty good sized gathering with
yeah.
this. You can get a bigger one if you've got more people, and you can really knock their socks off, huh?
Yeah, and this is really good cold the next day.
Well, Lynnae, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's been a delight having you here and eating your delicious food once again.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. I love being here and showcasing some really cool stuff.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to subscribe to turn on notifications to see more of our content. Until next time, happy cooking.